TRG Radio.
TRG Radio, episode number 3. My name is Matt. You might also know me as Sir Crush on PSN. As always, with my dear friend and also FF Force Edward on the guitar, apparently, Carl.
Yeah, that's me. Hey, everybody.
And today we have a special guest and perhaps a future show regular, Mr. Jeph with a PH.
What is good, bitches? What's going on?
Apparently, he's the sexiest member of our team, but I disagree, personally.
I may or may not be the sexiest man on the internet, as a matter of fact, but that's for another day.
All right, for gamers, by gamers, we are the real gamers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we have a really good show for you guys today. We're going to have everybody's going to react to the Xbox One. That's the token thing that everybody has to do. We're also going to have an interview with, as a follow-up for the Twisted Metal article I posted yesterday. And later on we'll have some discussion on Final Fantasy XIV and Bungie's newfound love for Sony and how it probably led to Microsoft stalking Activision. So without any further ado, I guess we'll get started. Does anybody want to take the lead and talk about the reaction to Xbox One?
I guess I'll go ahead. Like I was really excited to hear about it at first, and then when I was actually listening to it, I was more surprised that all the factors that they put in that didn't involve actual games. And I'm not a big fan of the TV. Like, they say that they'll add like a cable service where you can watch television on it, and I was like, that kind of defeats the purpose because most people already have TV on it, so like in cable TV at home just on their regular TV. So why would I buy an Xbox to just have an extra set of like cable, I guess?
Yeah, and just to clarify that, I guess I read later on, a couple days later, which I read it on the internet, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt. But I guess it's gonna use your existing cable service somehow and have its own program guide based on that, and be able to tune based on that. I don't know. It sounds like a pretty big scope what they're trying to do. I mean, using any old cable service. I don't know if they're gonna get contracts with others or what, but. It seems interesting for some people, but I'm not interested either. Go on.
Well, yeah, I mean, but to me, that's not selling to like the gamers market. Like, I want to see like, hey, what titles are going to come out? Like, what kind of features as a gamer? Like, what is this going to do that the old Xbox didn't do? And what's this going to do that the Wii U doesn't do and the PlayStation 4 is not going to do? And I don't think they really set themselves apart in their press release for that. Like, there was nothing that said, hey, if you buy this, it's going to change the way you view gaming. And that's the way that when you buy a next-gen console, in my opinion, that's why you buy it, because it's different and it's going to change the way that you play games.
In all fairness, though, we are gamers, and I don't know how the rest of the public is going to take those types of announcements, you know? I mean, as gamers, they definitely did not talk to us at all, or at least very little.
I'm not too interested in the TV either, actually. I don't... If I had like a fucking nickel for every time they said TV during that thing, I'd be a rich man right now. But it's... all the features they showed were just like you can squish your screen when you do this, and now you can make it big again, and you can do fantasy football while you're playing football, and none of that actually like makes my game any better. Like, none of it improves my game, I feel, in any way. Actually, it seems like distractions to me.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess it's like a media device, it seems cool, but that's why we have computers.
Right, and I think that's what most people's reactions were like, yeah, my computer does that. I use my computer for that. Why would I transfer that to my TV when I don't have to, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. They also showed that Call of Duty at the end, but Call of Duty is going to be multi-platform anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, that was kind of like why I said, like, they really didn't set anything apart for themselves from the other consoles, because like you're showing a franchise that's going to come out for all the consoles, including the old school ones that we have now. So it's like, wow, why didn't you show something that's going to be like an Xbox exclusive?
Well, they did. They showed Quantum Break, which was by Remedy, the team that made Alan Wake, and I guess they made Max Payne. I didn't know that. But so that's one exclusive they did show. But like I think the total was six total games They showed one exclusive, and the rest is going to be everywhere else too.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, if I was going to launch a console, and like Nintendo does it too, anytime they're coming out with stuff, they always show like, hey, this is what you're going to get on the Nintendo that you're not going to get anywhere else. And I would do the same thing for mine, because that's going to make me want to buy it, because I'm not going to be able to get that game that I want to play anywhere else.
You know, with Nintendo, almost everything they could possibly show you is only going to be on Nintendo, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true too right now.
Did Quantum Break even have any gameplay?
They showed some CG footage.
Yeah, I thought they just showed the intro or something.
And you know, you just reminded me of something. How many times they said, first time you'll see gameplay from this game, and it was all CG footage. Not a single second of anything they showed was actual gameplay. Maybe it was in the game, and maybe it was running on Xbox One, but they were definite cutscenes, all of them. So I don't know why they kept saying. I think I counted 3 or 4 times they said gameplay, but there was no gameplay there.
Yikes.
So
yeah, I'm also confused as to how they said that the controller's way sweeter, but I didn't see. How's it better? Did they mention any new features on the controller besides some sort of trigger feedback thing?
Yeah, I guess the force feedback on the R&L triggers were about the only difference, other than they renamed their select and start buttons to menu and view, I think.
Oh wow. I mean, that's really not that great. Like the trigger feedback, a lot of the third-party controllers, I mean, you can get that already, so it's not like, wow, that's not that great because I already have one of those for my Xbox 360. You didn't really do anything new.
It's one of those things that I think you'll have to feel in action, because they have the regular force feedback on the hand, you know, where your palms would go on the controller, and then the trigger feedback, which is, I guess, they had some people who... they had some kind of simulation where you start a car, and I guess the feedback kind of trails from left to right as you're starting the car, which sounds kind of cool, but I don't really see a whole lot of possibilities and how that is a huge improvement. It seems like something small, tacked on, not a big deal.
I mean, I can see it being kind of big for, like, racing games at least. Like, it seems like you'll be able to control your acceleration a little bit better, but...
Well, that's the thing. It's not pressure sensitive either. It's just force feedback. It's rumble. It's just rumble in the triggers. That's all it is.
Oh, dear.
So I don't really know
how great nothing special then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems kind of pointless.
As opposed to, and I'll say this, in PlayStation's defense, I guess, their controller, I mean, it was remodeled a little bit. It still has that you know, DualShock classic feel to it, but it has that the touch sensor in the middle.
Yeah, that little touch panel. They say it's similar to the technology that's used on like the back side of the Vita. So if anybody has a Vita, that's kind of what's going to be on the center of your PS4 controller.
Which in that thing, at face value, I don't really know what kind of what that'll entail. You know, what kind of use will you get out of that? I don't know, but there's potential for it. I mean, at least, I hate to compare it to the Xbox's new controller, but I mean, as far as features go, there's a lot more potential in that touchpad than that force feedback trigger, you know?
Well, yeah, and that's what I was talking about. That adds something new to my gaming experience. So when I'm going to look at buying my next-gen console, it's like, well, this has this, and no other system has had it before. It's going to be different, and that's probably going to be a selling point for me as a consumer.
Yep.
Yeah. Not only that, but I guess the specs on the PS4 are better. I was looking up something that had the specs between them, and the Xbox One isn't even more powerful than the PlayStation 4.
Right, and yet it's doing more at once, which is another thing that's like, I don't know. I guess I'll react real quick to the Xbox One conference. In the end, I just kind of shook my head. I mean, like I said, I'm speaking as a gamer here. I don't really. I just can't see what they're doing here. They're trying to put out. I guess. All right. To be fair, last generation they had the less powerful machine, and we see what sales did. You know, so they did something right there. I guess with all their social or their online stuff. I mean, they ended up selling more than the PlayStation at first, and maybe they're trying to do that again. But now this machine's trying to do more as far as what's it called? I can't even think of the word. Simultaneous operations.
There you go.
And yet they have a weaker machine to do it in. And PS4 is going to be gaming focused, maybe with some social stuff in the background too. But that's all it's doing. It's not trying to freaking change your living room at all. You're just going to get a better gaming experience with more power from it.
Yeah, just to touch on what the PlayStation 4, the only social aspects that I heard, I just read it today too, was that they have the share button that everybody was like, oh, what's this do? It ties into like you link your PlayStation Network account to your Facebook, and then if you press share, you can either upload like a screenshot. So as soon as you hit share, it'll show like a screenshot of exactly what's there, or you can do it with a video as well. And then another cool thing is that they were working on is say that you were having a hard time in a game, I would be able to take control of your game on your TV and see exactly what you're seeing, but I'd be controlling your PlayStation at that point and helping you get through it. So that seemed like something that was pretty cool. And once again, that's another selling point. It's different. It's something that hasn't been done before.
And at the same time, I mean, you can even compare these features to the Snap features that Xbox One was showing off, and how it hooks up to your cable, and how you can make a Skype call while you're gaming, while you're watching TV. It's a similar kind of feature, but it's straight up gaming focused, which I don't know. I guess as a gamer, you can't help but just look at PS4 like that's the machine to buy. At least me.
Yeah, I was working at a game store when the 360 was within its first probably year, 6 months to a year, and as the PS4 or PS3 originally came out, and people only bought the 360 for one reason. For two, they could afford it and have more games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, Xbox Live played a part because almost all the games were Xbox Live focused, but they like nobody came up to me and was like, I need a PS3 because of the Bluetooth. And nobody came up to me and talked about any of these other stupid features. They literally just like wanted to know how many games it had. And you know what I mean? And the Xbox 360 was just the clear choice at that point in time because it had more games and it had more, decent games. If that's not your focus, you're not going to sell it. Like, because if people go into like a tech store looking for a media machine, they're not going to ask for a video game console. And if people are looking for a video game console, they don't care about all that other stupid crap. I know maybe like a handful of people who are like hardcore into video games and also do fantasy football stuff.
Yeah,
like that
seriously.
just doesn't matter. It's not important. And on top of that, if your machine's more expensive than the PS4, like I don't know. I feel like you're in big trouble at that point.
Yeah, we don't know what the pricing points are going to be, and that brings up another good point. Back when the PS3 released, it was what, $100 more than the Xbox. The cheapest version was $100 more than the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
All signs are pointing to these things are going to either release at the same price or the Xbox might be a little more. I don't think Microsoft is dumb enough, and I think they would invest the money needed to cut the price to at least match PS4. So, but back then, I mean, the pricing point was a huge deal because the economy was tanking back then, if you remember. So
yeah.
when PS3 got released, not only was it a higher price, but that was at a point where the economy was looking like shit, and people weren't willing to pay another extra $100. So if you're going to price these two machines at the same pricing point, I mean, all right. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. I want to talk a little bit more about some of the features that they give too, though. Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So I guess I already mentioned Skype, the Snap mode, a la Windows 8. Let's see. One thing that did strike me that they said is they kept mentioning that it was future-proof. Well, they didn't keep mentioning it. I think they only mentioned it one time, but they kept alluding to the cloud. How the cloud was going to do all sorts of their computing for them, which is a cool idea. But along with that, they said future-proof using the cloud, and then they mentioned something like 500,000 servers available at some point, and so it looks like they're going to take a lot of the background operations and have the cloud do that for you, which I think is a cool idea. But at the same time, with Gaikai, you would assume that that PS4 is going to have that same capability,
Well, that was kind of confirmed. I forget where I read it. It was a while back, but Sony had invested a lot of money into a cloud-based server. And then I was reading a little bit more about it a couple days ago, and they had said that their main focus for the cloud was because it's so hard to make the PlayStation 4 backwards compatible, is that they're going to set up a older games instant stream cloud service. I'm not really sure how it's going to work or anything. But basically, like, if you want to play PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 1, and perhaps PlayStation 3 games, you go into, like, the PlayStation Store, how it's set up, and then you play it via stream, or you can download it to your thing. So that seemed like something that was pretty cool, or it can be cool, but at the same time, it's something like, and you hear the rumors all the time, like always online, and it hasn't been really confirmed or denied by any of them. So it's kind of alarming that if they do want to do all these processes on a cloud and a server somewhere with like all these servers and stuff, I'm going to have to be online to play games. So what happens if my internet goes out and I can't play video games at all? Then it's like, I don't like that. It gives me a bad feeling, a bad taste in my mouth, I guess.
Yeah, I guess along with that is if you have DSL, and I hate to say it, I mean, DSL is much improved, but yeah, when people talk about broadband gaming, I mean, cable's the way to go. It's your persistent connection and stuff. How many people really have that? How many people are stuck with DSL, which is, I mean, it jumps all over the place. I've had DSL before, and your connection is all over the place. If you always have to be online, that could affect that big time. However, at the same time, I've been hearing that it's just going to basically ping your Xbox One. And Microsoft did mention that they're going to have it's going to be an always online, or at least need to have an internet connection to run it, I guess. And they're going to just ping your system, I guess, once a day. None of this has been confirmed, just kind of mentioned in passing by some of Microsoft's people. So in that case, it wouldn't matter so much, but still, yeah, there's not everybody has internet at all. For that matter.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, I mean, the economy is bad. So, like, say for some reason somebody just couldn't cover their internet bill for that month. So that's just saying that they're shit out of luck for a month where they paid $500 for a system that they can't even use for 30 days because they just couldn't afford their internet that month.
I got to think that Microsoft's going to have an answer for that, because it just seems really stupid to just commit to, like, all right, now everybody, you're going to have to get broadband internet, or you're going to have to get some kind of internet just to play our machine. That seems kind of foolish, and I would think that they have some kind of answer for that, All right, yeah, you don't pay your cable bill, you're down for 30 days, now you can't play your games. I mean, you would think that there would be some way to still play their system,
Yeah.
But
I heard that that all the accounts are going to be locked to your account also, or all the games are going to be locked to your account. Is that confirmed?
Yeah, it's sort of. What they said in follow-up was that it's when you get the game. All right, first of all games are going to have to be downloaded to be played, downloaded to your machine. So you'll download it to your machine and then just run it off your machine. Which I don't know if you've seen my meme. I want to put that up somewhere because I think it's hilarious. But basically, it turns your disk. You don't need your disk anymore.
Yeah, it makes one of those ISO files, so it's like a virtual disk, which is good. Like, and they do that now. Like, right now I only have a PlayStation 3, but I play a lot of fighting games. And what they'll do is a lot of the fighting games now is they'll make you fully install the game, and what that does is it actually decreases the amount of lag that you encounter because it's not going through the process of reading the disk. It's all there already being processed. So it actually makes the games run faster. So for an online gaming experience, it actually makes it a lot better.
Yeah, and Blu-ray players can be quite fast, but it's just faster to read off a hard drive. That's true. Now, as far as how they're linked up with your account, yeah, when you download it to your system, you'll download it to your account for that system, or you'll download it to your account on whatever system you choose to install it to, I guess. And they're going to charge some kind of fee. You're going to be allowed to put it on other machines, but there will be a fee involved. And then they said they haven't worked out all the bugs or the details for that yet, so don't know exactly what that means, but it looks like at least one machine, one account, one Xbox Live account, you're going to be able to have that game, and then other ones are going to cost you extra.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be something similar to, like, you buy like a used game that's online, multiplayer, and then if it was used, you have to like go down and purchase like an online code. I imagine it'll be something like that.
Yeah, I heard that they're going to have mandatory online passes. That's what I've heard also. And I guess I was told that's why EA stopped instituting some of them, because Microsoft was going to do it anyways. And it seems like they're really trying to hit used game sales with it. It seems like they're trying to damage used game sales with this.
Well, they kind of stroked GameStop a little bit afterwards, in the days following the Xbox One reveal. They were saying that GameStop was still going to be supported in some way. We don't know how that's going to work. I know it will completely fuck over GameFly. That's a guarantee right there. Unless, I was actually thinking about this. There is a way where they could take maybe give GameFly, issue them some codes to where you could still, rent them out or something. But I don't know.
I think if I was going to do it that way, I mean, I'd make it almost similar to Netflix, especially now that they have all these cloud-based servers on the side, which it makes a perfect opportunity. It would just involve them to work with GameFly. So you get your subscription to GameFly, and then you would do the same thing. You would just stream it. Like, you have an account, you pay a monthly fee, and you can download up to, like, say, 2 games at a time. But it's all on the cloud-based server, and it runs off that.
Yeah, that's stuff that PS3 is already able to do, actually, come to think of it.
Dude, I used to have Sega Channel. Do you guys remember Sega Channel?
Yeah, I had Sega Channel. That was so awesome. Like, every month you'd have, like, 80 new Sega games, and it was right through your cable.
Sega did that, 16-bit? And, like, it took us long to get back to it now.
It was like 14, 15 years ago. Maybe even longer than that. Actually, way longer than that now that I think about it. It's 2013.
I used to be playing Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Sonic and all sorts of sweet games over that.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to implement all this stuff. I mean, I guess this is the story of the Xbox One reveal. They have left us with, before they even announced the system, there was all kinds of speculation. It seems like after they announced it, there's even more speculation. Like, all right, what does this mean? What does that mean? And nobody's got an answer yet. And I'm guessing, in all fairness, and moving into my next point, is we're going to hear a lot more come E3. E3, they are going to focus on strictly the gaming side of things for the Xbox One. And we're going to hear more about how, maybe rentals or their GameStop relationship or stuff like that is going to work. And they're also talking about 15 exclusive titles for Microsoft, which I thought was a very interesting talking point, because I don't know that Sony's going to have 15 exclusives at E3, but Microsoft has apparently promised that they will. So that I'm curious to see what they got.
Yeah, 15 seems like a lot, though.
They said that, 8 of them are going to be new IPs?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why then.
I wonder how many of them are going to be smaller titles, or you know what I mean, like downloadable titles. Like, when we hear 15 exclusives, we think 15 like new games. 15 AAA titles. But in all honesty, a lot of them are probably going to be like $10 games or whatever you download, or at the most $20, $30 games you download off Xbox Live Arcade.
Well, they might not be. Those sound like indies or whatever, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, the one holdup I have with those 15 exclusives is, yeah, you're right. This machine, it comes obviously it comes with the Kinect 2.0. It's going to be very, very Kinect focused, and yeah, it makes you wonder how many of those 15 exclusives and eight new IPs are going to be some kind of Kinect thing.
Yeah, I know people that are already paranoid about that, because supposedly the Kinect doesn't turn off, because you can turn your system on with the Kinect. Not. That is terrifying in a way, I guess, if you watch enough sci-fi movies.
I was just going to say, that is not something that I have ever worried about. Like, okay, my privacy is interrupted because this Kinect is on. I mean, I guess if Microsoft were a bunch of devious bastards, they could have the camera on looking at you the whole time. But I think it's just on waiting for a command.
Yeah, but I mean, still, I'd be a little paranoid. I watched that, I think it was called Eagle Eye, that movie where that, computer was watching, everybody. I don't want that. I'm not putting that shit in my living room if it's like that.
Yeah, where do you live in Boston?
Just in the heart of the city, bro. Yeah, well, they know,
I mean, there's just that marathon and that bombing, and,
yeah.
I mean, Microsoft. If I had to pick a company that could be a bunch of devious bastards, I wouldn't, probably stray too far from Microsoft. They could definitely be a bunch of devious bastards. And if I was going to pick one of the big 3 game companies that would cooperate with the government or something, I would probably pick them as well, because, Sony and Nintendo are mostly Japanese and probably still upset about, World War II or whatever. So if one of them was going to cooperate with the government to watch us, I'd probably pick Microsoft.
Yep.
So their Kinect thing, I don't know. And the actual Kinect that they have right now on the 360, I think, I don't want to sound too negative, but I don't know another word to pick besides stupid. I think it's stupid. There's nothing, it doesn't seem to make games any better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I was watching, I think I showed Matt the video yesterday or the day before, but there's this guy, he's called JonTron, and it was Star Wars Kinect. And if you haven't seen it, you should look it up, but it's funny because it just really shows everything that's wrong with the Kinect, from just selecting menus to how unresponsive it is. It's actually pretty funny, but like if you want to see how the Kinect works right now, he does a really good job because it'll show him moving and show what the screen does, and it's usually never really paired up very well.
Yeah, like, and that's another thing is like, because there's so many features that are Kinect based, but there's also just so many features on the system altogether that, have you ever been really into a game and someone just, I don't know, maybe a kid or a girlfriend just won't stop bugging you, asking you questions, and you like just, you're trying to focus on what's going on, and next thing you know, you're dead, like.
Yeah.
It seems like Xbox is just going to be shoving your fantasy draft stuff on your screen, like, and just, you know, it's based around putting more crap on the screen, and I need less crap on my screen. I'm going to be honest with you. I need less shit there. I need to focus on what's going on, or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially if it's a game like Call of Duty where I can't see my guy and I'm just disembodied hands pointing guns at people. I suck at first-person shooters. I need as much concentration as I can possibly have.
Yeah, it's bad enough. Like, I mean, playing PlayStation 3, I play a lot of fighting games, but anytime that I'm on, like, the right side of the screen and people are logging in and out and shit like that, or I get new messages, it covers up my health bar, and sometimes that really screws me up. So I couldn't imagine playing where there's all this shit popping up, like somebody's talking to me on Skype, and then, oh, my fantasy football league, I just won a game, but now I'm dead in the game I'm actually playing right now because I can't see shit.
Do you even play fantasy
people
football?
would probably think I'm a rage.
No, I don't play fantasy football, but I was just using an example that was already used.
People probably think I'm a rage quitter if I had the Xbox One. Because every time I die, I like to flick my TV off, like, real hard. And the Kinect's kind of be like, shut off time or something. Like, I'm going to flick it off, and something I don't want to happen is going to happen. Or I'm going to swear, and it's going to take it as something else. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be like, shit, and it's going to be like, shut off. And they'll turn off or something. That's all stuff that I don't want happening. I want to be able to swear at my television, you know, in peace. Is basically what I want with a video game console.
Yeah, I do that regularly. So
I think we all do.
Yeah, I think these are a little bit of and I hate to say it, I don't want to put you guys down at all, but I think this is the paranoid side of things where, yeah, you can foresee some of these problems happening and these things being, you know, manifesting as problems, but honestly, I mean, there's a lot of potential in what they're doing, and I promised I would play, you know, I'd jump on their side a little bit, even though I'm reluctant to do so. And I think I'll start with that. Is you know, these features could be really cool. You know, the positives might outweigh the negatives on them. And while it does, like you were saying, Jeph, how you need to focus on your game, or you don't want to be distracted by other things because life distracts enough as it is. You know, maybe you just get used to it. It probably isn't that big of a deal, you know?
Or maybe on top of that, they probably have some level of settings on there and preferences where you can probably turn a lot of that stuff off. So
at least you would hope.
Let's
so.
hope.
Oh, I really do.
Yeah,
I think for me, like the biggest selling point, and I want to hear more about it about all the new consoles, except for Wii U, because we kind of know how that goes, is like their actual online service. Because the last generation, Xbox 360 by far has the better online service. I mean, granted, you have to pay for it, but overall,
I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to stop you there. It's not by far. It used to be by far. PSN has come a long way. Now, I would say I've experienced a little bit of Xbox Live, going to brother-in-law's house and stuff like that, and Xbox Live is still, it definitely has the better service, but it is not far and away the best service. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Population-wise, it's definitely the best. If you talk about the amount of players that are on it,
mm-hmm.
It definitely seems like if you're talking just about ease of finding a game, things like that, since there's so many more players on it than it is. But when it started off, it was so far ahead of the PSN that you do have to give PlayStation credit for catching up, at least in the areas that it has so far. Yeah. Definitely not as feature-rich, has nowhere near as many players on it. But for the fact that I'm not paying for it, which I got to pay for my internet anyways, and that's something I've always bitched about. But, I mean, still, it's a premium service. So if it wasn't buying a far above PlayStation, that would be really bad, considering it is a premium service.
Yeah,
right.
That is true. I mean, a big thing for me that like I think my favorite feature about Xbox Live was the cross-game chat, because like I was a fan of playing a lot of single-player RPGs like Skyrim, Kingdoms of Amalur, and everything. And I couldn't talk to my friends that were playing the same game just because we weren't in the same game, and you couldn't do the voice chat outside of it. So,
yeah, and to be fair, I had thought about that too, just being able to chat with others playing different games. And I guess they have a party system where you don't even have to be playing a game. You can just get in a party, voice chat, and everybody can play whatever they want. Right. That's something I might pay $50 a year to add. And, you know, I assume that PSN is going to have that for next gen. So
well, I think they would, only because
it was so popular.
Well, not just that. I have a Vita now, and that's exactly how they have it set up for the Vita is the party system, and it's over PSN. So they know how to do it, and they're doing it, but they're only doing it on their handheld right now. But it's really awesome, and it's convenient, so I like it.
No brainer.
Yeah. That was a big deal when PlayStation 3 was still relatively new, was people would go on forums and online, and when are we going to have cross-game chat? That was like a huge deal. And they teased about it for a while, but eventually Sony had to say that the system wasn't designed for that. They had to have, you know, with this specific, because of the processor and it just didn't have enough RAM.
Yeah,
it wasn't dedicated to games.
It's definitely a RAM issue.
Mm-hmm. But I couldn't imagine the PS4 coming out without it.
Yeah, neither could I. It's almost a gold standard now. I mean, credit to Xbox for coming up with that. It behooves Sony to follow suit.
Yeah, they really set the bar with that. I liked it.
Yeah. Well, let's see. One more point I wanted to say about the Kinect is now when Sony unleashed their PS4, what do they call it? PS4i 2.0. I don't even remember what it's called. It's been 3 months. Whatever. Their new PlayStation Eye. It said it was going to be a 720p camera, and that was impressive. You know, 720p, very nice. Well, I guess Kinect is going to be a 1080p camera. So, I mean, that's a step up. I mean, if you've ever seen 720 versus 1080, they're both fantastic quality, but 1080 is markedly better. And to have a device that records in 1080p or sees in 1080p is something that to be noted, at least.
Yeah. But it all comes back to usability, too, though. Like I said, the PS3 was stronger than the 360, but it cost more. And you got to wonder how many pixels is actually worth the extra amount of money that I guess you're going to have to spend on it.
Right.
I don't know if that'd be a big deal for me, because what am I going to record with it? Myself playing games?
I don't
you know
that's
me in 1080p.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Xbox One. They haven't even really said that you can. I mean, I think they said you can record yourself playing games, but at least not live stream. And I wonder just how PlayStation is going to work that. You know, is it going to be 720p live streams?
They didn't cover it in the article that I read today, but they did cover that they have a deal with Ustream, which I was kind of shocked that they went with Ustream anyway, because everybody knows, like right now when it comes to gaming, everybody uses Twitch TV, which I guess is kind of like a sub-site to Ustream, so maybe it will be connected to Twitch TV. But right now they have it where you'll be able to set like a live stream up on your PlayStation 4 while you're playing, so that'll be pretty cool.
I had heard somewhere that, and I really hate saying I had heard, because I should confirm this shit before I come out with it, but Ustream has had an influx of investors over the last couple years, and they're really trying to grow it. And I think that might have something to do with it, that Ustream has their site set on being a premier place for streaming anything. And to get some kind of contract or license with Sony is probably going to help that. And I think Sony may have wanted to go after Ustream because they have such a big vision. So,
and they have, the potential to grow. You always want to invest in something that's growing.
Right.
Yeah. Not only that, but like if you wanted to stream your gameplay or post your gameplay, that wouldn't even touch on your camera.
Right.
I'm trying to think of what would actually benefit from 1080p. The only thing I can think of is the government watching you. I'm not coming up with anything useful for that besides the government.
All right,
distinguishing your tattoos better or your features. So,
ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to apologize for the tinfoil hats that my co-hosts have right now. No.
We are all paranoid now, and you can thank us later. You can all thank us later.
And you know what? I'm not, and I'm going to be that guy who gets completely screwed over by the government as a result. So maybe I should be.
When Xbox Live renames itself Skynet, you'll be sorry, but okay. We'll be all right. You pay $50 a year for Skynet, and we'll pay $10 a day for tinfoil hats.
Yeah, I think somewhere out there, Miles Dyson had paid them to not rename it Skynet so he can stay under the radar.
There you go.
All right, I guess that's really all the hard things I wanted to talk about on Xbox One. We've still got a few minutes here before we have to start our interview. So I did want to jump into one thing that I don't think either of you guys give a rat's ass about, and that is the EA presence at the Xbox One conference. Now, one thing that interested me a lot was well, I'm going to pat my own back real quick. Yeah, I'm going to do that on semi-live radio, and say that just a week before they had announced this EA thing with UFC, I posted an article saying it's in all likelihood, early next year we're going to see a new UFC, and sure enough, EA comes up with Xbox and says, yeah, in the next 12 months we're going to be seeing a whole bunch of new EA games, including UFC. So I thought that was cool. But what did you guys, I want to get your guys' general reaction. What did you guys actually think about this EA partnership? I mean, of course, hold on. Of course, it's kind of ridiculous in the sense that everybody is going to have EA Sports. Maybe even, no, actually, I think EA is not working with Nintendo. I don't know. But either way, PS4 at least is definitely going to have these same games. So it's not that big a deal. But what did you guys think of their little presentation there?
The only thing that I can think of, like a partnership like that, and I mean it's been seen all the time, is that maybe the Xbox will have the edge on getting the releases earlier, and they might get more downloadable content support. Because I mean, you see that right now, like between like the Final Fantasies. Originally, it was going to be a Sony exclusive, and then a few years later, it came out for the Xbox. Like I think Final Fantasy 13 came out like a year and a half later for the Xbox 360 when it first launched. And then the same thing, the Xbox 360 didn't get nearly as much downloadable content as the Sony users did for Final Fantasy 13 too. So I think you're gonna see a lot like that. I don't know if it'll be a game changer. Maybe if it's for like sports team fans and stuff that like they get in sports. And I know every console will have the EA Sports, but maybe they'll get a little more support on the Xbox side of the house.
How about you, Jeph?
I personally am not that big on sports games, but it was a smart move. There are a lot of people, and it's probably a lot of the same audience who were early to solid adapters of the Xbox 360 that are big on sports games. Sports games sell a lot. That's just the way it is, and any sort of positive marketing towards that will be good for Microsoft. And honestly, for me, it was probably the high point of that entire presentation because I don't think the dude who presented it said the word TV one time.
Nice.
And at least it did. It was about games. It was actually about games. And let's get something straight. I'm not anti-features. I just want features that actually help the game. I want features that enhance my gaming experience. If someone from AT&T comes to my house and starts talking about new features for me watching television, that's great. But if, Hideo Kojima or somebody who makes video games starts talking about, I don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm the same way.
And there are a lot of people who will straight up probably not even know, jack shit about the actual deal that Microsoft has with EA Sports. That'll literally go away from seeing, the Xbox reveal just, Xbox is the place to go for sports games. That's all they'll take from it. You know what I mean? And that will really just sort of give them the leg up with that. And there are a lot of people who play Madden, and
that's a good point because right now, I mean, if you're a baseball fan, you don't even care if you have an Xbox. A Microsoft machine does not interest you because of MLB over on Sony. So yeah, getting EA out there might have been a good move. However, I mean, we all know at least. All right, so they're talking to the general public basically this entire conference. And yet, us gamers who are watching it, we know that these games are going to be on PlayStation also. It really depends how far their partnership extends. I mean, with these fantasy type things and the snap another window in there. I mean, maybe there's some stat tracking that you could do as you're playing your games. I don't know. There are some things that EA Sports could do with the Xbox One that maybe PSN isn't going to. But I don't know. It really depends on what they decide.
I think it might have been their motives behind it. Like just sitting here and thinking about it is it's kind of like a marketing thing because sports games, they attract casual gamers, like people that aren't really, they wouldn't call themselves gamers, but they like sports and they're gonna play Madden with their bros. I guess you can call them bros or whatever they do, like the frat boys and stuff like that. And
Pop the collar.
yeah, stuff like that, they're popping their collar, they get gym tan laundry, but yeah, so they go in there and they're like, well, this is going to be more focused on the sports games that I'm going to play. So it appeals not only to the casual gamer, but then you have some hardcore gamers that just dedicate themselves to making like custom Madden teams and FIFA and stuff like that. So I think they're maybe trying to target that group of people to just go over to their console, I guess. I mean, I'm thinking from a marketing standpoint, it was probably a wise move to do that.
Yeah, you mean trick those people.
Yep.
Because really, they're not going to offer anything else that other people aren't going to offer as well.
Yeah, I mean, that goes into calling them the casual gamers, because they don't look in it and they don't play any of like the hardcore cult classics or just like cult games that nobody really hears of except for the people that play it. They're just there to play EA Sports games.
Right. Well, I guess we can summarize real quick. We got a couple minutes before we'll take a break and then get into this interview. But I'll start with this one. I mean, in summary, I guess I wanted to play apologist for Microsoft for this little discussion we just had. But I find, like I said, I find it really hard to do that. There is some potential in everything they're doing, and they are appealing to a much wider audience than Sony is. And maybe it'll pay off for them. Unfortunately, I think that gamers as a whole, I mean, you're talking hardcore gamers, even casual gamers, I don't think are going to be that enticed, even with the EA Sports stuff and maybe even the Call of Duty stuff. I mean, I think even casual gamers know that it's going to be available on both platforms. Why would you go to Xbox One when the other machine is going to be more powerful and probably the same price? So, excuse me. All in all, I wasn't impressed. I mean, like I wanted to apologize for them, but I can't. If they're smarter than me, if what they're doing, I mean, they're probably smarter than me. Let's give them credit. What their approach is might reel in a whole bunch of people that weren't going to buy a machine in the first place. And you know, if they do that, then it's going to pay off. But otherwise, it really is starting to look a lot like Sony's generation.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's what I've been reading a lot into it, and I mean, you have Sony, and then you have Microsoft and Nintendo, and those are the three that every console race, it's always the same. They're always fighting out. But then now you're having all these like other consoles coming out that nobody really even has been focusing on. Like you have Valve Steambox coming out that's supposed to be like your living room computer, which I mean, I've been looking into it. It seems like it would be great if you're into like Steam games and stuff, but they haven't really come out with what type of developers they're going to have along the lines of third party. So, I mean, if they can get a good third party thing, it might be a Steambox generation. Nobody knows. And it's the same thing with that Ouya that you just said. Like that was just launched, but nobody's really covering any of that. So, I mean, it might not just be Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. It could be one of these up and coming companies as well that nobody's been focusing on either.
Right. I guess I'll give my summary like this: is we're all here on a podcast for a site called The Real Gamers. And so, while I'd like to apologize to Microsoft for, what we've said, I really can't, because we're here on a podcast for a site called The Real Gamers, and they didn't show anything that would appeal to anybody who would probably, adopt that moniker on purpose necessarily. Like, if you're talking about real gamers and people care about hardcore games or great games or anything like that, so little of their conference was actually about games that I find it difficult to apologize necessarily for the opinions we've had. And if it is the case that they're keeping all these games in the dark, then the conference was essentially useless to people like us who don't care about the other stuff and just want to see the games. So, and I don't want to say that I'm not for features. I like features. They just got to enhance the game in some way for me. Like, the console to me is like a hot lesbian. Like, it's good looking and it's great at all this stuff, but it's useless to me. I'm not going to be able to do anything with it. You know what I mean? I'll try to turn it on, but it'll just sit there. It's like I find it difficult for it to appeal to me, even though I'm trying my best, because it is feature rich and a pretty looking system. But that's my summarization of the whole situation.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there.
All right, we're going to get into this interview. We're going to take a short break, and hopefully I'll edit in a cool little song to take us into this at some point. But we will be right back. right, welcome back to TRG Radio, and we are here with a very special guest. It is the man behind TwistedClans.tk. Visit it now. It's probably one of the main reasons that the Twisted Metal community is still rolling. Mr. Job Playrough, aka Corey Wilkinson. Welcome, Corey.
Howdy.
Simple enough.
Simple.
All right, to get started, I wanted you to talk a little bit about what Twisted Clans is and how the idea to make this website came about.
Well, it's a website for Twisted Metal players. Basically, the idea came about when I was in a clan with all you guys in Twisted Metal, and we had a clan website. And I kind of played with it a little bit and kind of come up with the idea to make it more towards Twisted Metal as a whole. Some of the things that the host provided, pretty simple. Not a very big tech guy. Am and am not. So I wanted it to be pretty simple. Found a way out to bring clans together to really set up clan battles was the whole initial idea, to make it easier rather than doing it through PSN, GameFAQs, or some other website. Thought I'd bring a place where everybody could get together on the web, be able to communicate without being connected to your PS3, and that's how it kind of all really started. And hasn't evolved that way though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and you know, when you brought this thing about, I mean, I was there. I'll say I was there when it first came around, and there weren't too many people looking at it at first. But you know, like, what kind of user support are you seeing now on it?
We're getting around 4,000 to 5,000 hits a day. So,
goodness.
Yeah. So we're getting the hits. We get about maybe 1 or 2 people a day, kind of depending on the day. A lot of names you don't see that I haven't even played with have showed up. There was just, I barely even mention it when I go and play Twisted Metal in the game. A lot of the other people have stepped up and said, "Come to TwistedClans.tk." People have come.
Yeah.
Are there any other people you want to name by name who are kind of helping with the site? Because I know a couple people, you started it out, and then a couple other people just jumped on and helped you build it, right?
Yeah, I started up, and then Exploit came on, and he helped for a while. D1111, he came in and he did a lot of the current graphical part of the site.
Who's that?
He was in a different clan. I never even played the guy before, and he come on and offered to do some stuff, so I let him. And he basically come up with the current menu and the headers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that looks great too. I just checked it out yesterday. It all looks really good.
Yeah. So he did a lot of that graphical stuff for me. I gotta mention out Udarius. We had a donation. It's a premium site, and I did put up a donation box, and we had Udarius 69, Batamoni, and Troll AIDS 21 or 22 or whatever his name is. They're all graciously donated their money for the website to make it premium for a year. So really allowed me to get into it a little bit more. I could do some HTML and do some JavaScript on it, and if it wasn't for them, the site wouldn't be what it is today.
Right. Yeah, you kind of already mentioned it. One of the other things I kind of wanted to talk about was how TMA, which those who don't know, that's Twisted Metal Alliance. They are an old, literally one of the oldest Twisted Metal communities that there is.
Probably gaming communities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they really didn't adopt this new Twisted Metal. I will give credit to Mortimer, the guy who runs TMA, and a couple of his friends, Mosh for one, Hellbent another one. I mean, these guys support the game still to this day. But yeah, for the most part, TMA kind of dropped the ball, and that's kind of what influenced you in building this thing. And I guess it's a big reason why a lot of people join the community. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, just like any community that's been established for a long time. New people aren't necessarily as welcomed as some of the older people. So when the new Twisted Metal come out, a lot of them didn't like the game for that it wasn't the old Twisted Metal, it was a little bit different. And the new people were coming in wanting to find a place to communicate, per se, with the forums and stuff. And from what I've seen and what I experienced was they just didn't quite get the warm, fuzzy welcome from TMA. Part of that can be just the fact that they were not happy with the game. So, gave them a place to come.
Yeah.
Can I interject for a second?
Go for
Yeah.
I'm like really into the new Twisted Metal. I've been playing it forever, and one thing that I noticed is I quit for a while. I actually something personal happened to me. I got into a car accident, and a car combat game just not as appealing after like a real car hits you. So, but I had actually registered at Twisted Clans the day that it was made. Within the first week, I have that little badge for being within the first week. But it was crazy because when I came back, I didn't expect to see that many people. At least all the people I knew would be there were there, and then some. And I've sort of just decided to stay with the community since then because a lot of them were my good friends. And I think the big factor, or what Twisted Clans does well, is stability. It's not necessarily the ability to draw in 100 new people a week, but it's not losing people like you would think a game like this would after this long and lack of support. It's maintaining and slowly growing at the same time, which is actually really impressive when you consider the sort of duress that a game like Twisted Metal is under on a regular basis with lack of, developer support and things like that.
Exactly. I'm blown away. I mean, when I made the website, like I said, I thought I'd get maybe 40, 50 people total to come and join. And I think we just eclipsed the 200 mark today. I think our 200th member joined just not too long ago.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm totally blown away. When I first started it was really towards the clan battle and the clan war side of things for Twisted Metal. And it's basically now, it's still part of that. It still gives you that communication that you can't get inside of a PSN. It's become the place where everybody goes and shares and, says happy birthday. You got something going on, you put it on the site, you get a little bit of support from the community. Twisted Metal for me was always a very social game. Even from the very first Twisted Metal that I ever owned, number one, all the way up through Black. Everything, it wasn't the single-player modes that really got me. It was playing with your friends, playing with your buddies. That's what brought it in. And this one just takes that to a different level. Can't punch the guy who just killed me, but I can come here and I can smack talk him a little bit if I wanted to.
Just as good.
Yep.
And there's no lawsuit after. Usually.
Exactly.
Both me and Jeph, we've had considerable experience with Twisted Metal, and fortunately we have Carl here who has had almost none. So I was wondering, Carl, did you have any questions for Corey here?
The only I was looking at it. Obviously, I'm a noob from it. I played for a while with you guys on and off. But is there anything set up it's a community now? And you notice a lot of communities, they evolve from where at first it was competitive and everything. But now, is there any sections on your website for people that are actually just picking it up, whether it's they buy the used game or they get the downloadable content version on the store? If they can go there and they can learn how to use their shields the right way, or what type of damage does this, and how to use certain weapons on there, tips and stuff? Do you have a tips area?
Yeah, I got underneath Twisted Info, we got sections on each of the main battle cards that we allow in clan wars and stuff like that. It has, the hit points and there's some of the special information on it. We got a tips area that's quite long, not very well organized, that they can go to and look and see, how long do you charge a swarmer? Because you haven't played Twisted Metal, like a swarmer makes a certain sound, and if you let it go at the exact right time, you get 70 damage. How to fire a stalker, how to use a certain vehicle's special. All that kind of stuff is on the site.
See, that's huge, especially for like new players. You know, like that almost gives you like a welcoming vibe, which is probably why you see all those users that you haven't even played with yet, because like maybe they're just starting, but they're like, well, these guys want to take the time to help and provide me with information to do good. So that's good. I was just curious if you had anything like that, because some sites don't even take the time to try to help people that are just starting out in the game. They just kind of want to keep, you know, they stay on the top and they keep the guys on the bottom. They stay on the bottom type deal. So that's really cool that you guys do that.
There's a lot of people that can help, you know, that are willing to help you. Just come and ask. I know I've reached out to a few people to try to help them out. You know, Twisted Metal, if you're starting off today, you're on the bottom. Don't expect to win for quite a while.
Oh yeah.
The game is filled with pros.
Oh, I remember when I started, I must have played for like 2 weeks before I even got like my first kill on the multiplayer mode, and it was a pretty awesome feeling. But like you earn it. Yeah, there's a really, really high learning curve on there.
Yep.
I actually put a post on the site, and well, before that, one thing that is really good is when new people join the site. Quite a few of our senior members welcome them and let them know, like, if you need any help, go ahead and ask me. We don't really, you know what I mean? It doesn't bother us. There's a pretty good welcoming as soon as you join the site on your page. You know, we'll thank you for joining and offer to help you. But I actually created something where I came up with a second account. I haven't used it enough as I should lately, but it's just my name and then TC to stand for Twisted Clans at the end of it. And the whole idea is that I host rooms for newer players. And then I offer to friend them and help them if they want, because if you have such a steep learning curve, and it's not a game like Call of Duty where you can hop right in a match, I mean, you're already asking a lot of the player to keep playing when it takes so long to even get into a fight to begin with.
Yep.
That, you know, we want to help them get over that, you know, steep curve and, you know, the defeat that they have to suffer for so long at the beginning. That way they can stick with the game, because it's stuff like that that keeps the community going. We can stabilize, and it's sort of about building on top of it now. So there's quite a few players actually that will help new players out. We don't even care. Sometimes I'd rather do that than play with the pros. And believe me, it can be more fun than me getting smacked around for an hour and a half at a time. So
Been there, done that. There's just a lot of, as a new player, it's pretty daunting task to become an elite in Twisted Metal. I will say that. You know, it's got to be a master of the controller and a master of timing and sounds, and nothing like that old Call of Duty.
And another problem is that a lot of the players who are left playing all the time are the elite.
Exactly.
So that when new players get into a room or whatever, and it's a bunch of, you know, 100 skills or people that know how to utilize all these weapons and things properly, that it makes the learning curve that much worse on the online. So that's something that the entire site has actually helped to overcome. So, you know, on behalf of most of the Twisted Metal players, we're all pretty grateful that you got something like that going on, Corey. So
thank you very much.
No problem.
Yeah, that's another thing I kind of wanted to touch on. I was wondering, I mean, what kind of future is sort of planned for this website? I mean, you guys going to keep it ongoing and stuff? And if so, you like you guys were just talking about, I mean, you guys want to help the new players and bring them kind of, I guess, under your wing, but help them so that they can enjoy the game too. Are there any other plans, like, in the works for further assisting new players?
Not at the moment. Still need to finish off the wiki that we got. As you go around and try to look at a Twisted Metal wiki and try to get tips and stuff like that, it's just not up to date. We had some plans to do some videos, tutorials. Those could kind of fallen through. So to stay, you know, as for the website itself, we're looking at going multi-gaming. We've got other games out there that any game you guys play, you know, bring it to the website. I'll put up a link. It's become more of a social gaming website than actually a dominated by a single game website. And that's kind of the evolution that we want to do. We still want to be Twisted Metal at the forefront, but we want to bring in other people from other games that might say, hey, get some Twisted Metal. This is how cool it is. We got the coolest people in the world here at this site. Imagine what it is like in game. So that's kind of our plan to keep the site going and keep Twisted Metal alive, I guess.
Well, what a great segue, because this is a topic I kind of wanted to get into. With David Jaffe's new involvement in the upcoming Auto Duel, I mean, is that something you guys are looking at? I mean, clearly Twisted Metal is a car combat game, and I have found through my experience with vehicular combat games, that tongue twister, is that people who like Twisted Metal like that genre a lot too. With Auto Duel waiting in the wings, I mean, do you think these people will also jump into that?
It depends on the platform. It depends if it goes to the console or if it stays on PC, to be honest with you. I mean, most of them that have a PC or a PC gamers will probably go with it. A lot of people have shown excitement. There's been rooms that say Auto Duel on Twisted Metal, So yeah, I look for probably half the people here to really get into Auto Duel or at least give it a shot. But it really depends on the platform. If it goes to the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One or whatever they call it now, if it goes to those, yeah, I foresee 90% of the people on here supporting that game.
And let me throw a little bit of my own commentary on this. Is I have a theory. That these press releases mentioning David Jaffe, they're also coming out. They promise to have some more press releases naming some other big names in game development, and I think those people will probably be associated with Vigilante 8. I think they're trying to build a team to make a really great car combat game, and I think one of the angles that they're trying to approach is trying to get it multi-platform. I don't think Auto Duel is just going to be on PC. I think, especially with David Jaffe's relationship with Sony, I mean, they are bed buddies, straight up. I can't see this not making its way to PSN, especially with, Sony's relationship with indie developers, which this company is. So, I really think that we're going to see this on PlayStation. It's going to go multi-platform, and I think there's a lot of potential for this Twisted Metal fan base that already exists on Twisted Clans to end up there too.
Yeah, just to touch on that, like the PlayStation 4, they actually just announced not too long ago that they're actually supporting independent developers and publishers, so they won't have to go through Sony to get it on the store, other than when they submit their product, they just get it approved to make sure that it's not like junk or just like some type of advertisement ware. So like they could actually literally get their stuff on, kind of similar to like the Google Marketplace. So it goes on, and then it'll be like a certain commission base goes to Sony, but it's a very small percent, and everything goes to that developer and publisher that actually put it up onto the PlayStation Network.
If it is the PSN, yeah, there's, like I said, 90% of the community here will support it. We're all pretty much diehards. We all have stories about when we first picked up Twisted Metal. We all have, all those stories are all there.
Yep.
Right.
When I first picked it up, I was at my uncle's, and I was blowing up the Eiffel Tower. And I wasn't supposed to be playing because I was grounded. And I was like, is it cool if I play the PlayStation? And I'm grounded. And my uncle was like, your dad isn't here. Fucking do it, But that's my actual original memory with Twisted Metal. I was blowing up the Eiffel Tower, and there was no other game where I could do that.
Yeah, that was my first memory, too. Eiffel Tower blowing up like everybody's.
It was awesome.
We went over to a friend's house, and we had it, first of all, the idea of getting the game was impossible. I live in buttfuck Egypt in the middle of Iowa, and none of my buddies had a PlayStation. One of the older, cooler dudes that everybody hung out with had one, and one of my friends had played Twisted Metal with him. Like, man, we got to get this game. We got to play this game. So like, okay, we'll get it. Well, we found a store that rented PlayStations.
Remember those days?
Wow. Yep.
Wow.
So we went and traveled 30 miles to the store. Get to the store, they're sold out. So then we go call another store. Well, it's 30 miles on the other side of town, so that's a 70-mile trip. Finally get it, get the PlayStation. Nobody has Twisted Metal. We talked to that guy. He gave us Twisted Metal for the night. We had that in like 4 of the games. No other game hit the console that night. It was a very good ordeal.
Yeah,
Wow.
your
Your
stories.
adventure to get it was a car combat game. just your trip to get it was a car combat experience in
It
itself,
was.
apparently.
Yeah,
Especially when we're all like 16, you know. I mean, yeah, so I'm old. I'm not talking about Twisted Metal
Okay,
1,
you're just knocking
2.
people out of your way in your car then. Out of the way, Grandma. Beep, beep.
yeah, I'm sitting here imagining Iowa as like you said, bumfuck Egypt. I think that's just the middle of the Sahara somewhere. That's great. How do you even have a headset, or how are you even talking to us on Skype? You have a computer?
I'm wondering myself.
People out there have computers too.
We got pooters.
He's got a potato with tinfoil on it. It's like Gilligan's Island. He's making his own broadcast right now.
Little do you know, I'm pedaling a bike to get electricity.
Hamster on a treadmill. Oh, a funny story though. Actually, one thing about this no auto duel, I don't know how much you guys read about it, but it's supposed to incorporate a lot of RPG elements. Have you guys read that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's crazy about that is the first car combat game ever was actually a paper and pencil RPG, sort of like Dungeons and Dragons. But you built your car, and you could equip weapons to your car and things like that. So this is actually, like, when I first heard about it, I was like, wow, this is a crazy throwback to a paper and pencil RPG similar to Dungeons and Dragons, but with cars and, you know, in a post-apocalyptic future as opposed to medieval times. But yeah, my uncle, he's the same guy that showed me that game. He actually used to have the books for that game, that car combat game.
He planted the seed, eh?
Yeah, he pretty much ruined my life. I should probably be mad at him right now. If it wasn't for him, I'd be doing something productive right now. So I should go yell at my uncle as soon as we're done with this.
Well, if you guys want to, and since we have gone on this little tangent here, do yourself a favor and Google Auto Duel Atari and check that out. I have a theory that this is a remake. Unfortunately, I contacted the company that is making this and David Jaffe, and neither got back to me to confirm that they bought the license. But I mean, it had RPG elements as well, so I'm really looking forward to that game, especially as a car combat fan myself.
Right.
RPG elements like that bred longevity to a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Twisted Metal pretty much has to rely on its gameplay and the people that support it right now. And if people don't like the gameplay necessarily, like the people at Twisted Metal Alliance, that hurts it. But there are a lot of people who will keep playing a game just to see themselves improve and to earn new things. You know, take a look at World of Warcraft or whatever.
Yeah.
So actually throwing elements like that into a game like this could really help it in the long run. I'm pretty excited for it on that front. I'm not a big supporter of a post-apocalyptic setting, but if done right, it could be really addictive. Really customizable, have car gameplay, just be like, you know, a really great game. So here's to hoping, you know, on my end, hoping for the best.
I'm with you.
All right, Corey. Before we wrap up this interview, I wanted to give you the floor for a little bit. I mean, is there anything else you'd like to say? If the answer is no, just say no, and that'll be fine. But anything else you want to say about the website, Twisted Metal, anything, whatever comes to mind, dude.
Just, you know, come to the website, meet the people there. I mean, it is a Twisted Metal website, but we are expanding other ways. We got some Injustice people that play Injustice in here, all sorts of different games. I like to, you know, for the pros of Twisted Metal that are going to be listening to this, if you're in the lobby and that lobby is full of noobs, back out. Let them kill each other. Don't just go and just absolutely slaughter them and make them feel like there's no chance in this game ever getting that way. And if you're a noob and you've never played Twisted Metal and you get Twisted Metal, stay to the ranked games, keep at it. Hit the chat room. Hit the chat in the game. Number one thing to do.
Right.
And come to the site. We'll help you out. We have no problems with that, actually. We love doing it. So
it's one of the reasons it's here.
Yeah, and just to make it easier for the people that want to visit, I think after this I'm going to add a link to the bottom right-hand corner of the Real Gamers website, so this should just be able to click it and check it out.
Cool.
Much appreciated.
excellent idea, Carl.
All right, Mr. Corey, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and we will actually see you in the Twisted Metal lobbies and on Twisted Clans, because I visit there too.
Yes, you will. Job, play rough. Come and play rough with me.
Right on. All right, welcome back to TRG Radio. I'm Matt. I don't even need to repeat that. Never mind. So I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Mr. Job Play Rough. Visit his site, TwistedClans.tk. Support Twisted Metal scene, all that stuff. We are a website that likes to think that we can support those games that don't get the support that the mainstream gets. For example, we don't cover much Call of Duty, so this is one of those games that is right up that alley. So anyways, I wanted to get back. We were going to round things out. We're not going to talk about what we're playing today, but we are going to talk about a couple bits of news that came out this week. I'm going to start with well, you know what? This isn't even really news, but Bungie and Destiny. Destiny is the game, of course, that Bungie is going to be bringing out. They presented it at the PlayStation PS4 reveal event, and I think after the Xbox One reveal and how they really focused on Activision and Infinity Ward and Call of Duty Ghosts, they mentioned their partnership and how they're going to have all their, of course, they've always had this, but how all the DLC is going to be first on Xbox. I think that kind of shed some light a little bit more on why Bungie was at Sony's conference, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. At first, I just thought, okay, Bungie's branching out, and they just want you to know that they're also going to be on a Sony machine. But I think there's a little bit more to that now. I think right now, Xbox or Microsoft, they kind of answered Bungie's little presentation at the PlayStation event with Call of Duty, and I really believe at this point that Bungie and Destiny, of course, I think Destiny did confirm. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they did confirm that they are going to have their DLC first on PlayStation.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah, and I think that this is really an answer to their relationship with Microsoft. I think they're pissed off at Microsoft, honestly, and they really want to stick it to them. And you know what? For Sony to have that kind of a heavy hitter in basically the same genre as Call of Duty is kind of interesting. And I really like that Destiny seems like a much more evolved shooter than Call of Duty is going to be.
Yeah, I think a big thing for me too is it's kind of like the answer to having Halo be like a Microsoft exclusive. Now you have the creators of Halo, the ones that was their baby, and now they're gonna make it, and they're gonna be more towards the Sony. So it's like, well, I liked Halo, and I liked it when it was made by Bungie, and now that a whole new company's taking it over, I might want to try this new IP that they're coming out with, where it's gonna get more support by them because they're Bungie fans. They're not so much into the Halo realm as they are just the mechanics of the game and how it was made.
Yeah, I'm thinking it'll help too because Xbox has generally been seen as like the more, attractive console for people who like shooters.
If you're American, for people, who like shooters,
yeah, that's what I meant.
Sure.
Yeah, I meant non-Asian people, but no, if you. So this sort of helps Sony take the edge off because they've had Killzone, things like that, but Killzone has never gotten the acclaim. It's gotten decent reviews, and it's not a bad game, but it's never been like I have to own a PlayStation because of Killzone, whereas Xbox has been I have to own an Xbox because of Halo. So I think that this is sort of good for Sony and the like, that it'll help take that edge off because really from when I worked at a game store, it really was like a lot of RPG fans still stuck with Sony, and a lot of people who are into action or first-person shooter games sort of migrated over to Microsoft.
And I think that narrative has continued on to present day. I mean, really, I don't own an Xbox. I have played it 360 many times elsewhere, so I just want to get that out there. But as a Sony person myself, where I favor that console, when I look at Xbox owners, I mean, everybody I know owns Halo. I mean, people who own an Xbox are the shooter fans. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's how I view it anyways.
Yeah, that's more or less right. And like, I was looking just to see, because I was thinking about doing coverage for like the Major League Gaming things, but if you see like all their pro gaming events and everything, it's almost always first-person shooters on the Xbox. Like the PS3 for shooting games doesn't get any coverage on there hardly at all. The only things on the PS3 that kind of get coverage are the fighting games.
Yeah, it's all farce.
Yeah. And another thing that I help perpetuates that I think helps perpetuate that is Xbox Live, since it's viewed as like the premium and the best multiplayer service. You know, nobody really buys Call of Duty because they say the single player is great. You know what I mean? They buy it to play a ton of the multiplayer. That's what it's all about. And so I think that the PlayStation also getting a hold of a game, not necessarily, I mean, it's not theirs, but getting this much of a grasp on a game that could help the PlayStation Network, I think is a really good thing for them.
Right, and you know what? That brings up another good point. Is Xbox One reveal, they were talking a lot about what did they call it? I can't even remember. Something about open worlds. Like they were insinuating. I'm sorry.
I think it was accessible open worlds.
Yeah.
Or
I can't remember the exact wording they use. They are much better at speaking business wise than I am, but something about dynamic, something like that. Anyways, I'm not going to go on and on about that. But it sounds like what they are trying to do is Destiny is going to be a game with that type of world, that a world that can change on the fly, an MMO type of atmosphere. We don't know if it's going to be an MMO or not. It's supposed to be a shooter / MMO, but even Bungie has not exactly said how that's going to play out. But it adds a little bit more credence, I guess, to Sony and how they're going to handle online gaming, in that they're going to be able to do that same type of approach. Am I making sense here?
Yes. Yeah, it seems when I think of the game, I kind of think of Borderlands, like a really good shooter, but with RPG elements. But once you throw the online in there, that definitely helps, whatever company is more backed by it and their overall approach towards the new generation. So to me, yeah, I definitely think that it helps Sony from that front, on the online and the shooter front, and hopefully it helped them be a little less viewed as the console that's only for people who refuse to let go of their PlayStation 1s and only care about HP and experience and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I personally am really excited for Destiny. I want to see what they have to offer. Apparently, they're going to have a lot of information on E3, and as I do every podcast, please root for me in getting approved to E3. My application's out there, so I'm hoping I'll get there and I'll be able to experience it firsthand and report back to you guys.
That would be awesome. Email them some nudes, then they'll probably let you in for sure.
Was there any word that they were going to do like what they did last year, where they had like the virtual E3 on the PlayStation Home?
Yes, the PlayStation conference will be streamed live on PlayStation Home again, and elsewhere, as a matter of fact. I don't know what Twitch is going to provide, but they'll have a lot of show floor stuff. But hopefully I'll have some show floor stuff that they don't have.
Yeah, that would be good.
Matt and I really like PlayStation, so we don't talk about PlayStation Home. We pretend that we skip right over that.
and to be fair, Xbox Live is also going to have a live stream of their own conference, so we'll see how that plays out.
That's good that they're doing that.
Yeah, and like you guys were kind of alluding to earlier, that's kind of where gaming's going, and this is why, God damn it, I don't want to be this person that just is totally a Sony nut hugger. I am a Sony loyalist, but I like to view myself as objective. But another good thing that I see is, I mean, Sony's focus on Ustream and the ability to stream your gameplay and join other people's games. I mean, this is where the industry is going. I mean, Twitch TV, you guys mentioned, is such a big deal for gamers, and being able to stream these things online. Like I said, Xbox and Sony are both doing it, but that just goes to show that their focus is on this whole streaming thing, and that's where they're going. And Xbox hasn't even talked about that much.
Yeah. I am really actually supportive of stuff like that, because it's something that sort of takes the game you're playing and makes it a bigger experience in general. Mm-hmm. It's cool, like a lot of the stuff that the new Xbox One will be able to do, but it's like I said, I buy a gaming console because it has game in the name, and I want to enhance the game experience of it all. So stuff like that is really cool. And I know that Twitch is the place to go. I've seen people who, are exclusive to Twitch and they stream or they capture their videos and upload them. So to me, that's an awesome thing. And I'm actually kind of excited for the PlayStation 4. I wasn't excited at all for the PlayStation 3, I can be honest about that, but I'm pretty pumped for the PS4. So
And I'm not that pumped for Xbox One. I mean, I was actually semi-pumped for the Xbox 360. The only reason I waited is because, like I said, I was a loyalist, and I was younger back then. I was a fanboy. I'm not so much a fanboy anymore. I just call myself a loyalist. But I'm not near as pumped for the Xbox One as I am for the PS4 at this point. Or even for the 360 when it came out. So I guess moving on. One more bit of news that I wanted to touch on that actually just dropped yesterday. Square Enix, the company everybody loves to hate but doesn't represent for it on the companies they hate most. EA gets that honor. FF14 was confirmed for August 27th, which is nice because they said it was going to be in this summer before, and it looks like they've nailed down a date. If you guys know Square like I know Square, you really can't guarantee it'll be dropped that day, but it really does look like it's going to drop on August 27th. Another thing they confirmed was next month the PlayStation 3 beta for FF14 was also going to hit. They released some pricing points. It's going to be $40. One thing that confused the hell out of me is their official site naming the service fee. It will be a monthly service. One little table on the site says $12.99 for 6 months, and on that same table it says $12.99 per month. So I don't know what the hell they're thinking there, but it's going to be a subscription service. I don't know. I'm pretty excited about this. I wrote an article about it last week about Final Fantasy XIV is coming, and I'm glad that we are on the cusp of it. It is a re-release. FF14 was released before, and it just completely bombed. They took all their community members' advice and made some changes to it, and they're going to re-release it this summer, obviously. And it's looking like it's going to be pretty good. I mean, I know I'm excited for this. I want to be involved. How about you guys?
Yeah, I've always been looking forward to it. Like, I remember opening up my Final Fantasy XIII, and I didn't even put that into my, and I got the midnight release too. I didn't even put that in my PlayStation because when I opened it up, I saw like right in front it said if you enter in this code and register it, you'll be able to get into the open beta, which was supposed to be 8 months after that game came out, but obviously that didn't happen. But like, yeah, I've been pumped ever since. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
And I'm excited for it too, because I'm not huge on MMOs, but I like Final Fantasies because of the way that it can immerse me sort of in a world. And from what I've seen of FF14, the world is really well done and immersive. And that's something that's really important to me. And honestly, I mean, it sucks when a game gets delayed and backtracked the way that it has, but if it means that it's that much better, then go for it. So, I mean, if it's an improved product, then sure, yeah, I'm pumped for it. I definitely like to know which one of those two figures is correct, too, on the monthly subscription.
I'm thinking just the way maybe, because I've seen a lot of games that do that, is maybe like the initial... If you pay $12.99, you'll get 6 months, and then it's $12.99 every month after that. That could be what they meant.
That makes sense.
I mean, that I don't know. I mean, you're just gonna have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't clearly say that on the website. That's the reason I got confused.
I would assume it's $12.99 a month because what is WoW, like $15 a month?
It was $15 like 8 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's true. But then again, I don't know. If it was $12.99 every 6 months, then. I mean, and it's only $40 to pick up initially. That's a real ass bargain, actually, by my math. But.
Well, it's strange too. Like you say $40. I looked on Amazon last night, and they're pricing it at $30. So I don't know if that's just like a conflict of information or what.
Maybe they have some sort of pre-order deal. I heard the Amazon.
Yeah, that might be it too.
The PC version is going to be $29.99. I think. Yeah. The PC version will be $29.99, so maybe you're looking at the PC one.
Okay.
Do you know, I feel bad admitting that I'm ignorant on this, but can the PC and the PS3 versions play together?
Yes.
That's pretty cool, actually. I think they did that
They did that for 11 too, so they had the technology even back with the PlayStation 2. So
Awesome. That makes me even more excited about it because that essentially doubles your user base. But that's pretty cool.
Well, I guess that leads right into, to this fact. You'll get 8 characters per server with a maximum of 40 characters. So, I mean, I guess they're expecting a huge user base. Either that or they're just giving you, like, straight freedom to do what you want with your characters. But that is what is included with their subscriptions.
that's pretty cool.
I think a lot of people are going to go into a game store and see it's $40 for a Final Fantasy that they've never played before, so seems new to them, and probably pick it up. And then if it's $12.99 for 6 months, drop it. 6 months later, you're addicted, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of hoping for a business model, actually.
I wonder how much of a loss they're taking, because they had already developed this game one time, and it completely bombed. And so you got to imagine that they took some sort of a loss. And then for another 3 years, nearly or more, I don't know which, they've been developing this upgrade, this remake of the same game, and then dropping it at $40 on PS3, $30 on PC. I mean, you got to wonder how much the development costs were, and if they're going to even make it back. I worry about that.
I think that all depends more on the longevity of the title, like how long it lasts. And then a thing, at least on the PlayStation side of the house, is releasing something that should have a long-term longevity on a system that's not going to be next gen. I mean, if they don't try to work it out where they're going to have something come out for the PlayStation 4, then I think they're going to be screwing themselves on it. But I imagine they're already working on trying to port it over to the next gen too.
Yeah. And not only that, but like you buy the game at 40 and then you pay for the 6 months. Let's say you do get the 6 months, that's 13. That's almost at the raw cost of what a normal PS3 game would be, $60 new. And then if it's $13 a month for every like 5 people, who support it monthly, that's almost like selling another game, I suppose.
True.
Just on like simple math. So, I mean, they're not dumb over at Square Enix, although they might seem like it sometimes when you buy FF10
There are certain people in power at that company that are definitely stupid.
Well,
fortunately, they removed most of those people, but
yeah, they're totally restructuring over there. But the thing that you keep saying is that it's a remake of the original, but they actually said focus on the term in the title that it's Final Fantasy XIV Reborn. It's actually an entirely different game. Like the battles, from battle system, the classes, the storyline, it has nothing to do with what they launched for the PC a while ago.
Oh, wow. So the original one could have been like a really expensive pay test or super alpha version to lead into this almost.
Super beta sigma version or some shit.
Yeah.
Either if it's as good as it looks to me, then I'm excited for it. And I've never really been into MMOs, but from what I've seen of this, it could be, really excellent. So. Well,
they just released a video today. I actually checked it out. I didn't share it with anybody because we started this kind of like right after I kind of watched it. But they were showing the control scheme on the controller, and it ran really smooth. And the way they had the control set up, it's very, though at least they only showed him walking around the towns and stuff. But it's real responsive, and it's almost like action-based the way he's running and stuff. And he could jump, which is kind of like, I didn't even know you could jump in RPGs, which is kind of cool.
Very
yeah,
new.
You can't tell that. That confused me when I was playing Ocarina of Time. I'm like, where's this jump button? I can jump in Twisted Metal and I'm a car. Why can't I jump in that? But it didn't.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's like a little boy beating the shit out of these giant monsters. I think in that one he beats the shit out of that. He goes inside that giant well and there's like that hard ass boss and everything. And it's like, but how come he can't fucking jump? It makes no sense.
Maybe like balsa wood. You buy it for like 5 coins or rupees you find on the ground, and but it doesn't matter. It's Zelda, so it's amazing, and I'll play it anyways.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I'm pumped for it.
There's actually a bonus stat just to go off what you guys were saying in Ni no Kuni, where you can actually purchase through doing side missions and shit. You can purchase the ability to jump, and the only purpose that serves is animation. You see your guy jump, but you can't actually jump over anything. That's a side note, but yeah, that goes right up there with what you guys are saying.
Another side note: have you guys ever heard of DLC Quest?
No.
Yeah, isn't that like Quest 64, some kind of mod on PC?
No. The Quest 64 is an excellent game, but it's It's actually a Steam indie title, and the whole point of the game is collecting coins so you can buy new things like jump or like background music. And it's totally just pointing fun at how much DLC there is in games now. There's even a horse armor one you can buy that doesn't do anything. Overly expensive horse armor DLC you can buy. So like you can't jump or you can't attack until you buy the DLC to be able to do it. There's like a little guy in the game. It's actually really poking fun at certain business models in video games.
Interesting. I might
you guys should check it out. It's funny.
I might look into that just for the laugh factor.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that rounds out our talks. Not a whole lot else I wanted to see. I'm going to go ahead and once again skip our final thoughts unless you guys had something burning in your mind you wanted to say before we closed out. But that's about it for me.
Yeah, I don't really have anything, so...
I'd like to close it out by saying thanks for having me on for the first time on the podcast, and I'm going to be doing my best to get some reviews up soon. I think my first game is probably going to be Dark Souls, which is a poor choice for a first game, considering how much it makes me regret even playing video games, but I'm going to do my best to have that up within a week for all you guys. So, and thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, no problem. Don't thank us. I mean, you're part of the crew. I hope to see you here every week, but I don't want to lay that on you as a requirement or anything.
It's good. I'm going to do my best to do it because I definitely have fun.
All right, cool. Well, hopefully we evolve. I would like to evolve into some sort of live stream at some point, but that's a thought for another day. I had a shit ton I still wanted to say, but we'll save it for next week. I think we made it about an hour and a half, so I'm satisfied with that. That's our podcast for the week. I guess we'll close and just let Carl take us out with his epic cheesy line.
Keep on gaming.